So Congress is returning this week from a 2-week break with a whole lot to tackle. In the House, Speaker Mike Johnson needs to navigate through a series of divisive issues, including Ukraine aid and funding for the Baltimore Bridge, while working with a slimming majority and the threat of a motion to vacate. And then in the Senate, lawmakers this week will be presented articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. NBC's Ali Vitale is joining us now from Capitol Hill. Wow, do they have a lot on their plate as they return from 2 weeks off. Ali, walk us through it.
A lot on their plate, Yasmin. Senate comes back this afternoon. House comes back tomorrow. I admit, I think a lot of us are probably going to take a pause, try to go outside in a little bit and see what we can see with the eclipse. I have my themed themed moon and sun earrings on just in case so that we're in the spirit here. But the to-do list is lengthy. I mean, put it back up on the screen. We can walk through each one. You've got Ukraine and military aid, which has a million different threads baked into it. Renewing the surveillance program, FISA, that's going to be a focus early part of this week. Reauthorizing the FAA, funding for the Baltimore Bridge recovery, the Senate Impeachment Act on Mayorkas, though that's probably going to be quickly dispensed with on Thursday once the Senate actually takes it up. Schumer is not going to spend much time there. And then, of course, the bipartisan data privacy bill, all of that going to be baked into this week. But it's that top item on the list there, the Ukraine military aid package, that has wrapped into it Israel aid as well as Taiwan aid. There are questions about if Ukraine aid is going to be taken up in solitary capacity or if it's going to be another look at that larger Senate supplemental package that has really just been sitting, lying in wait for several weeks now there. And it's Ukraine aid that might be the thing that costs Mike Johnson his job and the speakership. Listen to the way that some lawmakers are talking about it, including Congressman Adam Smith, who told me over the weekend he would back Johnson up, even as a Democrat, if they get a vote on Ukraine aid. Watch.
I think Speaker Johnson is a good guy, but if he brings up a foreign aid package sending billions of dollars to Ukraine without doing anything on the southern border, it will be a disgrace and a massive betrayal, not just of Republican voters, but of the entire country.
If Speaker Johnson gives us a vote on Ukraine, I and a whole lot of other Democrats will not support that motion.
I don't think he's at any risk. I think that what people have been referring to as the chaos caucus, those individuals who are seeking attention for themselves and trying to stop all of the important work in Congress, are now seen as merely disruptive.
So, Yasmin, the first guy that you heard from there, Senator J.D. Vance, not involved in the House process at all, but indicative of the way that some more right-wing House members are talking about the role of Speaker Johnson here. They don't want to see a vote on Ukraine aid. And in large part, that's why Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is dangling this idea of a motion to vacate in the first place. But then, of course, you've got the dynamics within the more establishment wings and the majority of the Republican conference. People like Congressman Mike Turner saying, I don't really think that this is going to go anywhere. I think that the conventional knowledge around the motion to vacate is that. But hey, there could be Democrats coming in to back them up here, too.
Ali, you're going to have to replace those eclipse earrings tomorrow with a gavel and dollar bill earrings if you have those. Okay. Ali Vitale for us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.